every now and again in the job I have, I will hear a story and it becomes a burden to me. And I reflect on it, and I've never really had that off a survey before, but this one has become a burden to me, and I just think we've got fatherhood really wrong. That cannot be right. We have to push that number back.
I have to say, when I read it, I wasn't surprised that some people had said they were happier before having children. I was surprised it was a third of dads. That seemed a really high figure to me. What are your thoughts on it, Stephen?
I'm not surprised that it's people in that space are reflecting and saying, I was happier before. But I think it's kind of what has to be scrutinized in that is, what do we mean by happy? I think one of the best things I ever heard Rob Parsons, who's the founder of Care for the Family, say, which I've kind of clung on to massively in parenthood, is this idea that most people think a future event is going to make them happy. I'll be happier when I get a new car, new house, better job, etc. And applying that to parenthood has been so helpful, because you think it'll be better when they can talk. It'll be better when they're able to communicate. It'll be better when they're dressing themselves. But what you can do is you can wish away every stage of their lives by looking to the next stage. And actually, to be truly happy as a parent, you just have to enjoy the now. There's difficulty, but it's also, there's so much joy in every season. But if you're always looking ahead, then you can almost rob yourself of that joy. And I think people probably make that mistakes. Oh, it'll be easier when. And I just think that's a profoundly helpful thing.
My favourite ever Rob Parson address, I don't know if you can Google it, I don't know if you could track it down now, the 3 disappointments of life as a dad. Groundbreaking. I doubt he ever spoke about it again, because it was so controversial, everything he said, but spoke to me as a dad. Disappointment in God, disappointment in your children, disappointment in yourself. And he addresses each of these and how to meet them and get underneath the skin of them, and how to address them. And I remember I came home from work once, and I had a really tough day. And it's good to show that you suffer sometimes with difficult days and anxiety with your kids, because then they can see how you manage it. So I'm not into superhuman dadhood, but I came home. This was different. I came home, and I was so shaking with the pressure of the day, and I put my hand on the kitchen table, and I was the work surface, and I was still shaking, and all I said was, I have failed. That's what I said. And my daughter turns to me and said, you are I don't want to over egg this, but you are the best dad anyone could ever have. You are not a failure. The reason why I raised that is a 2-year-old can't do that for you. There is a lot of investment, one-way investment into the zeros, the ones, the twos, the threes. Something happens about 5 and it begins to kind of be a bit more two-way. There is a moment when they get into sort of 14, 15, and they begin to evaluate you as a man. And then they were able to actually step in the gap for you. When I was breaking under the stress, she stepped into the gap for me. And I just, I encourage dads, particularly if you're new dads, everything that Stephen said, there is just seasons. Enjoy every season. There are some great seasons to come. The season you're in may be difficult, but the seasons to come, one day it might be that you are held by your child. And on that day, you will say, well, the best, wisest thing I've ever done in my perhaps unwise life is I had you to a child. And I think that's a moment, when suddenly my dad says to me, he's 84, he says, well, the son has become father to the man. I've only got daughters, but it's like my daughter has become father to the man. And yes, that's the thing.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that or found it helpful, please do click the like button. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about all our latest videos. And finally, if you're in a position right now to support Care for the Family, you can do so following the link in the video description. As a thank you to you, we'll send you a load of resources for you and your family. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.